Alright, now you're getting into the really difficult part of the rebuild. The question when you split the case is, what all do you need to take off here? Now, do you need to take the clutch basket off? Yes. Do you need to take off the starter gear and driven gears? Yes. Do you have to take off the oil gears? Yes. Do you have to take off everything? No. So, all these things, once you split the case, will lift right up. The crankcase, everything will lift right off. Technically, you don't really need to do the clutch basket, but it's easier to get the oil coolers off. So, because of the torque settings, it's better to get a good setup. And this is the setup that I did. As I said, I have two mats, and that allows me to change the mat and clean it as it gets dirtier. So that's a new one. But learning from the previous one, the table I had, which is made out of plastic, had to be reinforced. So I put a jack underneath with some wood. And also, it's nice to have a little wedge to get it into any angle you want. Now, because of the torque settings, I did it like this so I can get my foot on it and, sit down like this and really start torquing some of these, because this right here is at 70 pounds. And I'm going to have to hold the clutch basket. I'm going to have to hold. Oh, by the way, make sure that you have every tool you need for this right here. So everything I need is right here. There's my torque, my breaker bar, my impact, my big boys. And as I said, when I do this, the torque settings is going to be very high. So with the jack underneath here, I can literally stand on this thing. So I'm going to stand on this table if needed, or sit on it while I untorque it, because I got it reinforced. But you don't need to take, you can take the stator out, take the stator out, but you don't need to take out your your stator housing and stuff. Do you need to take off your front sprocket? No, you don't need to take this front sprocket off. It'll lift right up. Other than that, this thing's just going to strip right down. Everything is going to get saran wrapped. So the whole clutch, everything. The starter got saran wrapped, or it's $1. You get a roll for $1 at the dollar store. The clutch basket, the clutches, everything gets saran wrapped. The oil lines, all saran wrapped. The front heads, all wrapped in saran wrap. The rear, because I rebuilt them already, they're going to get saran wrapped. So everything's been rebuilt on this thing. The only thing I'm going to do today is swap the transmission. I'm going to put a new transmission in there. I'm going to put new piston rings so I can get 200 foot-pounds per cylinder, because I've got inconsistency in all of them, literally. I've got about 140 on the front, and I got 90 or 80 on the rears. So I want all of these at 200. Plus, I got to change out the wiring harness. So I've got the frame all cleaned up, and if you can see the subframe back there, it's gotten painted, and everything's back there. It got painted, the frame and everything. So I'm ready to go ahead and split the case. The hardest part are these two because of torque settings. And once you get these two off, you're good to go. Then I'm going to flip the engine over. I'm going to start coming from the rear, and I'll show you how to get the oil lines and everything done when you go backwards and start to unravel the whole engine from the bottom, and what those parts, why they're so essential down there for the cooling and the oil. My estimation is that that filter is completely clogged up or very nearly clogged, and it's restricted the flow of oil, causing a little overheating problem. Whatever the case, we'll get into it in a little bit. So basically, because of the torque settings on these two right here, you need something very stable. It's better to do it on the ground. I chose not to. I'm going to put it up on here, and it's better to actually do it while it's on the bike, but whatever the case, I'm going to go ahead and do it right now, wrap everything up, and leave it at that. But I'm telling you, you're dealing with some very high levels of torque, and the violent nature of the torque setting can be very dangerous to life and limb, even your personal equipment. So have a good setting and have a good understanding of how to take this thing off and what you need to take off. I really don't need to take anything off, really, but take off the minimum amount and just lift the crankcase out.